Here we are.
Hello, Jason.
Hello, Bryce. It is our second episode, and I am
Yeah,
really excited as we continue to warm up.
I'm really happy with like some of the feedback that we got. I thought it was really cool that you had people giving you ideas, and I was a little late to the posting game because I got stuck on a little mini vacation in the middle of nowhere. And but people on my side are really liking it, thanking me for the content, thanking us for doing what we're doing, and I just think that that is the best. Like that's why we're doing it, right? It's just
Yeah,
for people.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. I agree. I mean, that was just our first episode, and we're just kind of getting things started, and it was more of an intro and
totally.
just so the tip of the iceberg of where we could take it. But absolutely, the comments that I
Yeah,
received and the feedback I got were great. So, and
absolutely.
that's why we're meeting up again today. Is I actually
Yeah.
got a call out with more of a little bit of question that we're going to throw up from one of my peers, Hassan. So thanks to Hassan for calling this out and.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
not scripted. We just go with the
Thank you,
flow
Hassan.
and yeah,
Absolutely.
totally. So the whole thing is it's two options that I'm going to present to you, and it's
Yeah.
two doors, one blue door, one red door.
Right. I should be
Now
wearing
the
a red shirt. You got your blue shirt
yes,
on. You should have told me about, the
yeah,
setup. Oh
that's
well.
how much we practice this apparently. So the blue door. Now, if you were able to go back in time, the blue door would allow you to go back and fix all of your mistakes in life. It could be work related, it could be personal, whatever. That's option number one. The red door or the second door is $10 million in cash. So you don't get to go back in time and fix your mistakes, but yet have $10,000 cash in your pocket. So it's a really interesting question, and I want to throw it your way first and understand like what door do you pick, Bryce?
Yeah, I mean, like it's really tough because I know it's like very hypothetical, and I think that it's cool that he brought this up because it's kind of like it sticks you somewhere. And I always want to live my life like with that thing of like live with no regrets. But the reality is that's totally cheesy. Sorry if you believe it, but I think it's a bad thing because you have to regret some of the decisions that you make because that's what's going to change your future decisions and basically teach you, right? So it's a tough one, and as far as like $10 million goes, oh, that'd be great. But my thought is also is like when I hear people like, oh, I play the lottery. It's like, you know what? Having more money is not your problem. So it's how you spend your money. So it's just like one of those things. It's tough because I want a lot of money, but I want to earn it myself. But I also look back at the things that I for sure have done wrong. I've done lots of things I'd like to change, but I also know that deep down, it's caused me to be where I am today, and I've learned so much. So after thinking about this, because we've been talking about it for a little bit here over the week, and there's definitely one specific scenario that I'd like to change. So I think that you know I'm gonna be rich one day, Jay. So I'm gonna go with going back and changing something. And so like to get into the mix, like are you wanting me to describe what that one item would be or what do you want out of me?
Well, okay, so first you're picking the blue door because you can only
Pick
pick one. So
that's it. And I mean
you're
like
committed.
guys, like I didn't even know exactly what I was gonna pick. But now I'm on the hot spot and I'm like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
going for it because for me, like that's the way to go. I'm gonna earn my own money. I don't want to just have 10 million handed to me. That's not
Mhm.
my problem, right? So I definitely have some stuff inside that like, I'd like to change, right? But one in particular, just one, and the rest I'm up for just using as lessons.
Okay. Okay. See, well, you don't need to elaborate if you don't want to, but was it
Oh,
tell tell
Oh, for sure.
me
I'll elaborate 100%.
okay.
I just dropped the video today, and I know that you watched it because you dropped comments on it. And it's talking about anxiety and how, like don't let anxiety get in the way of your life, and it will stop you dead in your tracks, or it's going to push you forward. And I'm not perfect at it all the time. Obviously, I still have anxiety, and anxiety is just something you kind of live with. But like I was saying in my episode, is that it pushes me forward every time. I'm like, hey, you know what? I don't want to do this because I'm scared and I'm not comfortable with it. That's the moment I've like basically trained my brain to like, okay, get up, do it. And it all started back when I was selling all the time. Like, there'd be scenarios where like, I don't want to deal with that person, look sketchy, or, maybe something where I didn't feel safe, and I'd be like, nope, that's it. Time to get up, time to do it. Right. So, the owner of a company that I used to work for, he's now passed away, and which is too bad. So, I mean, that's part of this. And basically, I was one of the top producing guys there, and he opened up a trip for me to go on with him, with me, and then 2 other sales managers, and I'm just a salesperson, right? So I'm the only salesperson that's ever been invited to this trip. So this trip entails, like, we talk about where you want to go, what do you want to do? I'm like, I want to go to India. I've always wanted to go to India. It's like, might be a little bit epic for your first trip. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I can appreciate that. So we plan to go to Vietnam, and
Wow.
I was so pumped, like just like so excited. And that's not even the icing on the cake. The icing on the cake is he's paying for all the flights, and we're flying first class.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah. So we get to have our own little pods to sleep in, and everywhere we go, I don't have to pay for anything, just lodging and food. And like, if you know anything about Vietnam, obviously it's not a lot to pay for that. I had 2 young kids at the time. This was going back a couple of years. Now my kids are a little bit older, but they're 5 and 8 or something like that. And I got cold feet, and
Wow.
I backed out of the trip.
Wow.
Yeah, my anxiety got in my way, and I probably told myself a million different scenarios of why I am okay to not go and let that anxiety control my life. And I came up with all these thoughts, and I like narratives of what could happen, what will happen, and all of these different items. And my anxiety completely took over. Completely. And I look back, I've just gone to his funeral just over a year and a bit ago, or maybe a year and a half. And yeah, I mean, like, like I can never get that trip back. I can't get that time back with those people and him, and flying first class to Vietnam, and traveling all around Vietnam, right? Like, I hate flying. And the last time I flew to see you, I got stuck in a freaking tornado.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah.
How that happened, I mean? So like, yeah, I just it totally brick walled me. My anxiety just got in the way and halted me dead.
Yeah. I number one, first and foremost, just appreciate your vulnerability with that. Whoa, and there goes my light. Around that, and it is a challenge, right, that so many people deal with. And I don't think it's a mistake. I think you live and you grow, and as you said, it's kind of one of those things that you have to continue to fight through and push through. But that's a fair one. That's a fair one. So I'm gonna pick a door.
Okay, wait, Jason. There are 2 options for you.
Yeah.
You pick. Okay. This is my version. Okay.
All right.
I love the shirt, by the way, and you're drinking a beer. That's amazing. I drink water because I know I just see lots of successful people always pounding back the water. Water. I'll drink all the water you saved.
Friday night's my special night.
I'm not judging. That's good. Okay, in my scenario, which is the same question because we respect it, is that the red door, I think that's maybe even what you said. Red door is basically you go back and you change. Okay. And then the blue door, of course, you take your money and you run and you never talk about it.
So I'm taking that money. I am making that money.
Of
And
course.
I am the first thing I'm going to buy is a Lamborghini because can't be a Lambo without a Lambo.
Yep.
No, but here's the reality. I'll bring it back. We're all human and we're all going to make mistakes. If for some reason you aren't making mistakes in life, you probably aren't living life to the fullest in the first place.
Which is a mistake.
Because whether it's work, whether it's personal, whether it's job, whether it's that split decision you make, like mistakes will happen. Some of them are going to be big. Some of them are going to maybe be game changers in your life. Some of them are going to be small that you just kind of wish you might have approached things a little bit differently. But they're all basically a growing moment. They're a learning moment. And, when I look at kind of my life and where I am today, I know I made mistakes. There's boatloads of mistakes I made, but I just go with, what, you keep getting better. You keep getting stronger. You keep getting, just it becomes kind of who you are. And I think some people will have regrets, but I think you have to be, you almost want to turn it into a little bit of gratitude for the failure, because that's where you grow the most. And that's usually, failure doesn't have to define you. It makes you stronger. And so, I take that cash and I will go with it and run. The one caveat I would say is, if I ever hurt someone, if I impacted someone in a negative way, screw the cash, pull up the DeLorean, and I'm going back to fix that moment. Because I think, mistakes like didn't get the job, or you turned something down, or you took another job and it ended up not being great, or you made a financial decision, like those aren't like big mistakes, like they're bumps in the road. But if you hurt someone or really damage someone, and they're maybe you bullied someone or did something like that to that effect, and it really impacted their trajectory in their life and which way they were going,
absolutely,
there's no limitation. Like you couldn't give me $1 billion if I impacted someone negatively. I'm hopping in that DeLorean with Michael J. Fox. I'm going back in time.
So basically, if you negatively impacted someone to the point where they weren't gonna, go the path that they were meant to go or wanting to go, that makes sense, right? Like I totally get that. And like, to your point, like I've done a lot of videos, and I always mention, and like, I've trained tons of salespeople and done the motivational speeches in the Saturday morning meetings every day before the day starts. And I always say fail forward, right? Failure is nothing but forward success and momentum, as long as you allow it to. The only way you fail is by completely stopping and doing nothing. And since we're human, that's not even real. Like you can't just completely stop unless you, I guess, pull your clock when your time's done. But as long as you're living and continuing, there is no stopping. It's like, I mean, the simplest thing that we can say is like when you were a baby, right? And you're learning to walk. Yes. No baby just stands up and starts hopping around the house, right? Like how many times did we fall before we walked? And like failing is the only way you get good at something. Like it's just, there's no other way. Like just be patient and keep trying and keep going, right? Like Kobe didn't get up at 3 a.m. every freaking day because he was the greatest person ever at basketball. That's what made him great, right? Like, so just keep going with it. And like, for me, I guess my roots deeply, like people probably call me on this and think that I'm completely stupid, but my thought is just that I don't want the money because I want to do it myself. I want to be able to earn that myself, right? So like for me, if I could change one thing, that makes sense. Like, but every other thing, I totally agree. It's a lesson. It's like, this is who I am through all of my trials and tribulations and ups and downs. And it's what makes you, and what makes you strong. It gives you that grit, and you need that grit to get to success. And for me, successes, can be measured with lots of money.
Yep. I like that perspective too. When you hand someone $10 million, and if anybody that watches this video wants to do that to me, I will still take it. And Bryce certainly would.
I'm sure I can't just say, okay, here's $10 million. See you later.
Yeah.
But hypothetically.
But I think there's something to be also reflective in that is like 10 million given versus 10 million earned. Through trials and tribulations and working hard and getting through mistakes and getting through failure is actually worth more.
Way more. It's like that old analogy, right? Like, do you want 10 fish given to you, or do you want to be taught how to fish, right? Give a man a fish, he'll eat for a night. Teach a man how to fish, he'll eat for the rest of his life, right?
There you go.
So I mean,
okay, I've changed my mind. I'm not going with the red door anymore. You've converted me.
That's how good of a salesperson I am. Like, you guys all witnessed it here. It was all right here. I converted you. Yeah, exactly.
There we go.
Okay, but you know what? Where I was going with this anyway was like, you take your money, right? But if you could change something, does something come up? Like, like it doesn't have to be work related. I know this is a lot about work, but you know what? I think like for this is like, it's all about helping people. And if we can talk about things that, whether it's mostly work related or outside, like my anxiety and all that type of stuff, like I want to help people, right? So like, what do you think that you've done or had, or, maybe what that you would change if you feel so comfortable to do so?
Oh man, I guess it's, I try to always look at the positives in everything and even in mistakes. And maybe that's a mask, right? Like maybe that is a bit of a masking coping mechanism for the mistakes, is just like constantly go on the positives.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean by that? Like, do you something bad happens, something negative happens, and then you try to find the light of it, or is it like, do you try to mask the light?
No, I always look at okay, first things first is I look at, it could have been worse, right? Like, did anybody die? Did anything tragically, happen, and that kind of thing. So I always try to look at the glass as half full versus half empty. So that's probably the first thing. And I think, again, like I'll tell you one instance. I had an opportunity where, I was trying to get up the corporate ladder, and I was in this acting role. And to be honest, like maybe I self-sabotaged a little bit, in the sense that, when the position actually came up for me to apply, I should have gone for it. I should have, because I was in the role acting for like 8-9 months. I wasn't really particularly good at it. See, I'm already telling myself back then, like I self-doubt.
Yeah.
And without even like batting an eye, even though this was like my dream kind of gig to get to in my career, I got cold feet. I backed out. I pulled my resume out of the hat, and I didn't even end up interviewing for it. And I think I probably self-sabotaged. I probably put a lot of reasons why I shouldn't go for it. Like I said, I was in the acting role, so I got a great experience of like how to do it, and I was failing a lot.
Right.
And I think I didn't want to deal with the rejection. And so you can't be rejected if you aren't in the application. So I think
totally,
in the end, I still got to where I wanted to go, but in that moment, it would have been like 3 years faster that I got there, and I probably would have succeeded, because in the end, when I did the job, I was really successul. So I think that would probably be my one moment that I think, from a career perspective, I self-sabotage.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's a tough one. And to be able to sit there and say that, like, you know what I mean? Like, in just hearing what you're saying, it does sound like you sold yourself on, on why. And even just now, as you said it, like, I wasn't that good at it, but like how could you be? You're 8 months into something that it literally, I am a full believer in the 10,000 hours. You cannot be great at anything until you hit it. And until then, you're, like sometimes, whoever's watching, you got to fake it until you make it, right? Like, don't hold back, because, most people don't know what the beep they're doing all the time. And sometimes you gotta give it your all. At the end of the day, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't. And at least you can know that you came with it, right? Like fully. So, but we all get into our heads, right? So that's easy to say, so.
Well, and I had someone, another step in my career that, one of my leaders had said, like, I was like, I'm not ready. He's like, you're never going to be ready because you're not doing that job, right?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
So even though I had it earlier stages, at this level, the stage was too big, and I really talked myself out of it. And again, I always looked at the positives and try to, what can I take from this? But you got to be cautious, right? Because in that case, for myself, I self-sabotage, and I feel confident that I still would have got the role, but
I think
didn't let it happen.
Even though yours is work related and mine's really personal, I think that they both say the same thing, and that's that we let the narrative control us, right? That monkey brain, that's basically easier to think negative than it is to think positive, and that's just human nature. And we just let that narrative go. And then sometimes when you're just like thinking about things, the scenarios play out. And it's like you're watching it happen, but it's all negative. And I'm a positive guy, and it happens to me all the time because I'm just like you. So when you're saying like I look at the positive in everything, that's me too, man. Like I'm 100% like, what did I learn from it? Where am I going to go? How can it affect me better into the future? But we both did it. Like we both let this narrative and this like author of our negativity brain take over, and this is what's going to happen. That's what, like, it's exact same thing, different scenarios. So you can take something from it, and like, even though we're saying about like being that guy, it's like, oh, we just mask it. But now, to our benefit on that side of positivity, the next time a scenario like that, like for me, comes in, I'm going to figure out a way to deal with my anxiety and push me. I'm not going to let that happen again, because I do look back and regret that. And the same thing for you. I'm sure the next time that, like when something big scale happens to you, you're going to be like, you know what, I don't feel comfortable, but then you're going to remember that you should do it anyways, because you're right. You'll never be ready until you do it,
Fail forward, as you said.
You will fail forward. And I've, in so many of my positions, I've definitely felt out of my depth. And I had that fear of, like, there's an actual medical term for it. And I don't know what it is right now, but there's an actual medical term for this. And it's like basically the fear that you're not worthy for for where you're at in your career or your title. And that it's the imposter syndrome.
Yes, you're right.
And like so many people go through it. So I mean, it's just like such a natural thing, and that's that, like, it's really just a monkey brain taking over, right? Like, but it's crazy because I've had it myself. Like, and I, I'm just as good as the next guy, and the only way I'm better is that if I outwork them, typically. Yep. So, I'm not special in any means.
Yep. Fair enough.
So yeah, I just think that's it's a pretty cool conversation when you get down to like the nitty gritty of what it all is, and really cool topic. Something I would have never thought of doing either. So I don't know where he came up with it. Like, I was just like, did he talk more about it, or was it just in the comments?
Yeah, no, we chatted about it. And I think his wife brought the picture forward, and he thought it would be good for us to unpack it. So that was awesome. It. And here's this great conversation to be had. At least
totally,
it was great.
Totally.
Great,
and I think that like lots of people can relate to it, and there's probably, I don't know, umpteenth different scenarios that we could bring up to this. Like, like what direction would you go? And like, would you actually buy a Lamborghini with that money?
Yes.
So you're not putting it to good use.
Hey, everybody's got their crutches, right? And I would have a lot of maybe that's our next conversation. What would you do at $10 million? And Yeah, I mean, I would want to help a lot of people out, but the list goes on and on and on. But yes, a Lamborghini would definitely be on my list for my first thing to buy recklessly with that kind of.
Well, you know, some Lamborghinis gain value, right? But hey,
as long as they're not wrapped around a telephone pole, I think they're pretty good.
Yeah, exactly.
Good. Well, this has been a really good one, Bryce, and I know we continue to kind of get our comfort levels and mess around with our tech and get into our groove. But I really enjoyed this one, and I hope if anybody views this that they can leave us some comments on things that they may want us to unpack, or if they really like this combo. I mean, honestly, Bryce, appreciate your vulnerability around it too, and being open about it, because you know it's out there, right? There's a lot of people that deal with it, and our monkey brains, as you said, are they're pretty evil, right? They find a lot of negativity, they find a lot of darkness, and you don't even know what's happening, right? So just appreciate your vulnerability with.
Well, yeah, and like anybody who's watching it and who's struggled with anxiety, like, you know, like, you're not alone. I know that for so long that people don't talk about it. Like we used to work for Bell Mental Health Day. I mean, it's a big thing, right? Like, so I mean, like, if I can give any advice, it is to talk about it, is to get it out there and to put it out there, because then it doesn't control you. It's not constricting you anymore. Like, you don't have to feel alone. Almost everybody I know has gone through anxiety and stuff like that, and some are worse and better. But, you know, like, so yeah, like anybody watching, just, you know, deal with it. Don't let it stop you in your career. Don't let it halt you in the tracks or in your personal life, right? Like, just deal with it, because it's important.
Yeah, make it your strength, right? Turn it around and say, this negativity in my mind, I'm going to do the opposite of what it tells me to do.
Exactly.
Because some people sit with maybe not enough voices, and I think more people would like less voices, but a negative voice, if it's that monkey brain, just go polar opposite. Don't give it any more than 5 seconds of thought, and just go.
Exactly.
Right? Go.
Just like, use that. Use that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm still not always successful with it, obviously, because I'd just be a big fat liar if I said that. You know, I don't let it get in my way. It does get in my way, but like, I do use it. And when those moments come up, it's like that trigger point. It's like, oh, my brain now thinks I have to do the opposite. I have to, like, you know, like, that's the part where, you know, you need to do the opposite, unless it's actual danger and harm, which most of the time it's not. Because, you know, in those scenarios, and we're off topic, your body and your mind, they know what to do, right? So no, I think it's been a good chat. And, you know, like, to further that, like, if anybody ever wants to talk about anxiety and overcoming them and the relief, like, throw it down in the comments. I'm always around and to talk, and that's why we're here. Even if it's just one person, we're doing our job.
Love it. Awesome.
All right, Jay.
All right, Bryce, I'm excited for our next convo, and we'll see where we take it. We've got some other feedback that we've gotten to, and
any ideas?
This anyway.
Throw them in the line.
All right. Awesome, Bryce. Until next time, we will chat soon.
I bid you.